Zach, I wanted to bring you in here for this because the Celtics have a critical game too tonight. And I know you've been breaking down Celtics game film. You're way into this. You're ready to give me the solutions. But the thing that's wild is this is the first time in NBA history that in the second round, all 4 road teams have won game 1 and have snatched home court advantage. And I know you've been watching this league a long time. I think the NBA, maybe more than any other sport, I guess football because it's a one-off game.
Yeah.
Home advantage really matters.
Absolutely.
It helps you. It helps you with calls. It helps role players. It really should help. And yet here we are. All four obviously favorites and home teams are down 1-0 in their series. Is that weird? That feel weird?
It does. It feels very weird to me. Out of all 4, you figure at least one of them. Like I thought, Oklahoma. See, but you go through each game, and all of these.
By the way, how about the Oklahoma City fans calling Nikola Jokic a free throw merchant?
That was great.
I was like, you have the ultimate. Like James Harden passed the torch to SGA. Like that.
Yeah. Does it not
feel Brunson
very
too.
Just like hypocritical of them?
It's crazy
the whole time, and it's just
No
like
shame.
they don't understand the joke in it. It's hilarious, but I do like that they call. I don't know. It feels like it's very European of them to call him a merchant as well. But I thought that would be the game that the home team, the most out of their the most out of there, that would be the one they would for sure get, and it was an Aaron Gordon 3 late to win the game for him. So you do have like somewhere it comes down to the last play like that, but like I would argue that Indiana just kind of outplayed Cleveland in game 1 there. I mean that, and it was Cleveland
game too.
Yeah, but Cleveland's just awful from out there at 3. It was the team just came in and kind of punched them in. You've broken down the Celtics. To kind of come out and start like this. I expected the home teams to have a little more pizzazz. So it has shocked me a bit that all 4 of them have gone down.
The worst home team in game 1 was Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even crack 90 points. That was without Steph Curry on the other side. That's pretty bad. And this is where my greater point comes in. I think we are on the path towards the biggest era of parity in NBA history. And it could be changing the way the rest of, the league historically has not had a ton of parity, right? There's only 8 teams that have won a title. Every decade's had a dynasty. This is the longest we've gone without back-to-back champs in ever. But you've already had that 6-year stretch, or 7-year stretch without back-to-back champions. And now home court advantage is not guaranteed. And I mean, 10 years ago, the beginning of the Curry Warriors era, especially, that was automatic. The good teams were winning at home all the time. You were not stealing them from them. And so that's how we got, Cleveland, Golden State, 4 straight years or whatever it was. So I think we are seeing a new NBA unfolding before our eyes.
Let me devil's advocate this.
Please.
Is it actual parity or or is it just perceived parity? Because let's just back like the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 1 team in the West. The Rockets, a young team, were the 2nd seed. If you look at the way the West seeded out this year, it did look different. Even some of the teams in the East, like the Pistons are back there. It does. We see teams that are starting, these young cores kind of starting to come together. But if it does fade away, there's a good chance we could still get a finals of where it's Warriors Celtics. Is that really a lot of parity there? I guess to get there, and yes, everybody losing, but the good teams are still the good teams. This might be the tail end of the Warriors. And I think Steph knows. I think I saw the quote during the Rocket series somewhere where he told Draymond when they traded for Jimmy Butler, this is our last shot. They kind of know that in a way, but it is still a team that has played there and knows how to get there and is a playoff, caliber team year in and year out, no matter who's on there.
I think your better point would have been this. The 8 teams still alive right now.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 of them were still alive at this point last year. The only team that's not there is, of course, the Mavericks.
That's a good point,
and they are replaced by Golden State, who's been there all the time. So yes, I understand that. And this is why I've thought about it, is most years in my time rooting in the NBA, and I'll even look at the last 10 or 12 years. That was kind of the big three era to the Warriors to where we are now. There was usually it was two teams at most that we could say like this team could win the title, especially all those Cleveland Golden States. It was like most years it was one. It was just like Cleveland isn't going to beat Golden State. That's going to be the finals matchup. So there we go. And like all the teams in the East were just also Rans. I look at this year and I think there's definitely three that can win it. I would argue for a wild card for a fourth or a fifth, which I haven't felt like that in maybe ever watching the NBA. Like the wild cards would be Minnesota and the Knicks. And I'm not putting money down on them to win the title, but I could see a world where it happens. If the Celtics have some more injuries here, like then the Knicks are playing the Pacers. The Pacers have been exciting and everything, but the Knicks could beat them.
In 2000 all of a sudden, though.
There you go. It's gonna be a rock fight between the Knicks and the Pacers. Spike Lee's gonna be there still.
Yeah, Reggie Miller's just waiting to go. Yeah,
but like Boston, Cleveland, although they're not in a good spot right now, Oklahoma City, I think all can win the title. I think Golden State's got an outside shot because they have Curry when he's back, but I doubt it. But like Minnesota and New York as a wild card, I'm thinking you could put 3.5 legitimate shots for winning the NBA title this year.
You don't think that the Nuggets have a shot at it? I mean, they're not too.
Actually, that's not a bad point. That's not a bad point. I don't think they I don't think they will, but they do have the star power to do it.
They have. That's the thing.
Jokic and Murray and this new Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, it's the battle of MVPs there, in that series. But I think that it's a different style of play there because Jokic can get his points, but Jokic always still kind of feels a little bit more of a facilitator to the rest of the players there on Denver than SGA.
Best passing big man of my lifetime.
Oh, easily. I'm not going to argue you on that.
Maybe the best passing center outside of Bill Walton ever. I mean, seriously. He's that good. Okay,
I can agree with you on that then too. Yeah.
He and Bird. I mean, Bird was forward, obviously, but anyway,
do you consider Bird more of the put him at the 4 or put him at the 3?
In his era, more of a 3.
Okay.
Just because he wasn't. He wasn't a bruising guy and most power forwards in those days.
But I think that
guys. Nowadays that's not the case. But
I don't think people talk about Larry Bird when they talk about big men, but then they also forget of how his height that he actually possesses. Then
it was 6'9".
Yeah. He's a big guy, but he's just not that. Anyway, more that Trevor Ariza type style.
Trevor Ariza for Shiza. If I had one comp for Larry Bird, it would definitely be Trevor Ariza. I'll say that. Shit, man.
This is what popped up. That's what everybody said. You don't remember that? When we watched him, they called Trevor. They're like, that's the modern day Larry Bird right there.
Oh, anyway, I'm kind of fascinated by this because I think home ice advantage is going away in the NHL. And I think home court advantage is going away slowly in the NBA. Like Cleveland's a great building in the playoffs. Like that is a loud place. And Indiana just took 2 off them.
No,
Oklahoma City has been a pretty good playoff atmosphere.
I'll add this, that it is a point of Game 7 between the Rockets and Warriors. When Stan, and granted, part of this was you got to give the Warriors their due, but when Stan Van Gundy is commenting on just how into it this crowd is for Game 7,
it was weird.
And some of that is on then the teams itself. Like watching those Pistons series against the Knicks before this, I felt, even though there were empty, seats that you could see there, because it's Detroit, the atmosphere still felt, it still felt like they cared there for the people who showed up, in Detroit. But it does seem that these are places that are notoriously, harder to play. You got to come in and, struggle to, or, chip away to get wins, and the teams are pointed out. I just don't know, as you said, which was obviously the way better point to make, is that it's the same teams a year ago, except -1. But it does also just feel like at the end of the day, even when you peel it back, that it's still the same teams that are going to find a way to get there. Like the Thunder seem like the new fancy team, and they do have a shot to win it, but then I just don't. I'm a big guy, and it feels like an old curmudgeon to say this, but until you have that experience and you're able to do it, like I question it. But how do you get that experience? Well, by getting
By
the
doing
wins.
it.
So
Mm-hmm.
I come off of a team and a Rockets fan that was the number 2 team in the West, that it seemed like it looks good, but they weren't the 2 team. Like, some of the seeding might be off. Some of it might be teams play at the right time, but I will agree with you that I think there is more parity. I just don't know if it's to the point of where it can win titles, of where we're talking about, it being Indiana this year, and then maybe next year it's Oklahoma City, and then we start this run, because we are, like you said, of no back-to-backs. But
Right.
is it
That's a
going to
big
stay
first
like
step.
that? Because if the Celtics win again this year, which is highly plausible, then we're back-to-back again, and then we're looking next year at, it's the same NBA, and we're
But then we're looking next year at them stripping down a team.
That's true.
Not stripping it to the studs, but you're getting rid of a couple of starters probably.
Because you talked about with potentially Jaylen Brown and all that the other day. Yeah. So is that, and this maybe creates the bigger conversation than there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of things like that? Because of how the cap works? Because of all, what they want to skirt, how, the luxury tax and all the way the NBA
in large
set
part,
up
yes.
now.
Yes.
Yeah. To where
that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have on kind of comparing the parity, like the parity that we see in the perceived parity, the on paper parity is for the major sports is the NFL. And I know we're still in the midst of a Chiefs dynasty. We just basically got out of a Patriots dynasty for 20 years. But outside of that, like it's all built around parity. Free agency and salary caps and comp picks and all this, that, and the other, and the draft order and all of it. No lottery. It's all built socialistically. It's supposed to be a league full of parity. And I know you can't really do this, but if you take out those 2 teams, you've got a ton of unique champions in my lifetime. But still, you look and it's like the Chiefs have won, 3 of the last 5 or 6, whatever it is. And they just played the Eagles for the second time in 4 years. They play the Bills every year in the postseason. It's like it is, as we perceive, the NFL to have great parity. The NBA is looking pretty similar in its playoffs and its format and its champions and all that. So
is parity a thing that we're ever like, is there a point where we reach it where we're like, yes, this is where the league needs to be? Or is this always just going to be a talking point? Like, because do we get to a point, and do we like that then also as a league, of it's like every season we go in and we start like, it's really any of these 30 teams, have an opportunity to do that. Like, I think that obviously that's the goal, but is that actually an achievable goal? I think that you're always going to have teams like the Wizards at the bottom. Like, it's just the way that the league works.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
and I think it's something that we'll just realize after the fact.
Yeah.
Because in the late 70s, when there was 5 unique champions in a row, that was when the league was on like its last legs. Like it was really not in a good spot at all. And so not like we look back at that fondly, but I think it is something that you'll need the benefit of hindsight to be like, yeah, to your point, it's like when we were in it, we were only thinking about the Celtics and the Thunder and all this, but it changed. Like the teams we thought about changed every 2 years rather than every 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? Like the Warriors were a thing for 5-6 years. They were the best team in the
NBA. Their windows are longer. In a way.
Yes. And now, you've gone from 3 years ago, let's say, it was, the Bucks and the Nuggets were on the come up. Phoenix was really good. They made the finals in whatever that was against the Bucks, 21. The Nets had a big 3. And now 3 years later, it's completely different, right? It's the Celtics and the Thunder and the Cavs, and the Bucks are well on their way. And the Knicks and the Nuggets are kind of still hanging on. So it may be those windows just becoming shorter, or something that we appreciate in hindsight.
Yeah, no, maybe. I think that's a good point, and it's just they are like the 4 or 5 year windows are now 2-3. You got to win while you can, like even more so than what you thought.
NBA League of Parity. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, It's totally free. Helps us on the path towards 4,000 subscribers. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the other videos on the channel and find us here every weekday. We'll see you tomorrow on a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.